That's okay.
I'm with the talented artist himself,
Oh,
Adam.
whatever, Rob. Whatever.
You put my
Bullshit.
face on a shirt, bro. That is
Look, don't blow smoke up my ass, all right, bud?
it's even funnier when I get into a podcast and someone is wearing that shirt and I'm like, you have my face on your chest right now. It's like an uncomfortable feeling, but it's gotta feel good, dude. Come on now.
It does. It feels fantastic that people are willing to put your face on their chest. It's a nice feeling. The fact that I was able to put it out there for them.
I was trying to turn it into leggings, but like my mouth and eyes were right where like the it really felt uncomfortable to the point where I was like, I when you get in that uneasy, like hot feeling on the back of your neck, you're like, yeah, maybe that's not a good sign to put that. But people are like, I'd wear it. I'd wear your face on my ass. I'm like, that
Oh,
sounds awful.
yeah, and you could have sold it at the gym, right?
Oh
That's
yeah.
not too bad. Look at
No.
that. Now
Yeah,
you're
but
thinking twice.
the people I would probably want to buy the leggings wouldn't buy them. It would be the people that I don't like. Somebody that's had a crush on me from like second grade, where I'm like, yo, she kills pets in her sleep. Like while she's sleeping, she's thinking about killing. You know, it's funny. Last time we podcast, we talked about cancel culture. Since that podcast episode, not only has Papa John's blocked me on Instagram, but at the but at
Come
yeah,
on.
he blocked me. And at the same time, I have been looking at everything in life now with a possibility of could that be canceled? Like, McDonald's toys? There's a male and a female toy. When is that not going to be established that you can't do that anymore?
Well, doesn't matter. You know what? Eventually, it's gonna be brought about. If you keep on putting those theories out there, it's gonna happen. And I'm sure it's gonna come up where they're just gonna have just a cube with maybe a couple eyes and a straight, not even a smile, a straight line for a face, and that's it.
All right, but you couldn't color them either. It would just have to be what, like the color
No, that's
gray.
it. I don't know.
Can you
Great. That
imagine
sounds
that?
about pretty neutral, yeah.
You're taking a 5-year-old kid to McDonald's to get a little Happy Meal toy, and the dude just toss out a toy, and you go, "Well, I would like my son's it's a toy for a boy, toy for a boy." And the guy just goes, "That
Mhm.
doesn't matter anymore." And the woman pulls up to the drive-thru, like, What do you mean that doesn't matter anymore?" Then just tosses you this square cube with a couple of Google. You can give the kid a pet rock. You probably have a hell of a lot more fun than just a square blank cube.
They're gonna outsource all their toys from IKEA.
Just start handing them nuts and bolts. Like, what'd you get,
That's
Bobby?
it.
I got a screw and I got a nail, but then I got to come back and get the other piece to actually finish the dining room set. You know, like the wood established furniture with the nice desk. Like you just
Oh
get
yeah.
pieces of the desk until the kid's able to make his own set.
So how's everything been with you, buddy? You doing okay?
It has been hanging, man. I am sipping a fine beverage. You're sipping like what is that? A wine cooler? Like is that an orange
No,
crush
I
or
got
something?
what is it? It's Malibu coconut rum with orange juice and cranberry juice.
It's
It's
4 p.m.
delicious. Hey, who cares?
I like that type of thinking. See, I work at 1 o'clock in the morning. So like by the time like I get done with like all my errands and everything, it's like 10 a.m. Then I made like a little whiskey slushy and you're like drinking early, aren't you, bud? I'm like, you gotta understand, like the night owls, this is their night. You know what I
This,
mean? It's not like they're up
yeah,
till midnight.
this is like your breakfast right now. I don't know how. When is your breakfast?
We're just
12
alcoholics that are
p.m.
rationalizing. No, it's not. Breakfast is not 12 p.m. Breakfast is like
I don't know.
5
It's not
a.m.
a traditional breakfast, is it?
No, it's not like I'm sitting down and having like eggs and like I don't just like cook up a bed and breakfast, like cereal in a container. I have that going on and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
I eat like a can of tuna a day, I guess. My breakfast is different from yours.
Oh, you kidding me? What would you think that my breakfast would be?
Well, I saw you dancing to Baby Shark or something while doing dishes. So I was like, this man's breakfast has to be like a Willy Wonka experience. Like you're going to
Oh,
the fridge, you open it up, and like it's like a Disney cartoon where the rainbow just comes out of the fridge, and you're like, it's the most wonderful. And you just start dancing around the kitchen, like throwing toast in the toaster. And next thing you
are
know,
you kidding?
like you
I
just
have toast, maybe. I have bland toast for breakfast. That's it. Two pieces of bland toast, and that's if I have breakfast.
I don't see I have an issue with the toaster because of the fact of when I was a little kid, my toast had broken off into the toaster and the button was messed up to where it wouldn't pop the toast out. So what I did was I took
Mhm.
a knife and
Yeah,
like
you
a
did.
nice, like, 7-year-old does, he doesn't think that to unplug it from the wall first. So I
No.
just go, dude, that's what needs to come back. You want to talk about cancel culture going the opposite way? Let's bring back the era of the shock. You know how many times I plug something into the wall expecting a shock and it never happens? It's kind of disappointing because
Yeah,
I think a lot of kids could do well with the shock today. Not
every
like a,
once in a while.
yeah, not like a dog collar situation, but a
No,
situation of like, you ever try and plug in or, like a console or something to get that zap and you're like, like you,
too many times.
yeah.
Too many. When I was a kid, this is fucked up. Okay, when I
he
was a
goes,
kid,
he goes, hang on a second. You're an electrical worker. Let's establish that
I know
first. So,
this is
okay.
I'm predestined to this job, I think. So what happened was we lived in the basement of my grandmother's house, and so my dad was renovating the basement at the same time. For some reason, a plate never made it on the switch in the what do you call it, laundry room. And so you go into the laundry room to flip the switch, and every once in a while your finger makes it beside the switch as opposed to on the switch, and your hand's wet because you just took a shower, and you get a nice little jolt. That happened maybe about every 3 days. So it just is what it is. Things like that don't happen these days, unfortunately, because kids will never learn. Um,
Your job is the one class I didn't want to take in school when I went to trade school. I took HVAC because I
so
heard
much fun.
no, I heard a story from my dad who was like, yeah, he goes, I have a funeral to go to. I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry, dad. Did one of your friends die? He goes, yeah. He goes, my buddy's an electrician and he
Mhm.
wasn't paying attention, but he was fixing a dryer. And I guess he hit like a certain circuit or something. And he had his
Mhm.
shoulder next to a piece of metal and it
Yeah,
exploded his shoulder. And I was like,
fucked up.
is he okay? And he goes, no, that's why I'm going to a funeral. I'm like, oh my God, he died. Like,
That's why I'm going.
that's terrible. But like, I don't know. See, electricity. I don't feel like I'm not that type. Like, I always loved going in a pool when it was raining or thunderstorming out. But then, like, you would hear that experience. So, like, there was a dude that was what he was hit by lightning like 22 times or something like that. And at some point, you
Okay.
have to analyze that person, do a blood test, and see if he has a he's genetically disposed to being shocked by lightning. How do you get hit 22 times by lightning
Okay.
and expect to live? How do you get hit 22 times?
That's just dumb luck.
No, no, no,
Dumb luck.
that's not luck. That's a hex, man. That is a
That sounds like the
hex.
Coyle luck, to be totally honest. It's like the Parker luck.
Oh man, dude, getting hit 22 times. Eventually you have to ask
Yeah,
that
that's
person.
bad.
And then his wife was like, "Yeah, well, he's been hit 22 times that we've recorded." And it was like, "Hang on a second. How many times in total?" He goes, "Well, the other times we're not counting because it was like near me." I'm like, "If
How?
lightning
What?
if lightning hits near you, you're fucking counting it. It does not matter. It's like I'll say 7. Like, is it like T-ball where it's like I hit 6 off the tee and then the others were actual pitches? Like
Like a
you,
grounding rod.
you would have your own baseball card with a lightning thing.
Oh shit! Did he have like pins in him or something like that? And like didn't wear any shoes when he went out in the rain?
Now, rubber conducts electricity, right?
No, no, insulates.
So, is it safe to be around rubber when you're a lightning striking?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you shouldn't be around trees because they're like a grounding. So like though, how am I supposed to say this? Electricity chooses the path of least resistance, and so any way it can get to the ground, it's gonna, right? And so that's why you see like what do you call it? Trees getting hit because they're planted in the ground, right?
I thought they were just
So
taller and that's why it hit them.
well, no, no, no. They're like the first. Well, yeah, I guess so. They're taller, but they're the first source to get to ground, right? But that's why you don't want to be around a tree when, aside from it getting hit by lightning and maybe a limb falling on you, you don't want to be around that because you could possibly get hit with a lightning bolt.
Would you rather be hit by lightning or would you rather be like in the middle of a tsunami?
Definitely hit by lightning, 100%.
But like that dude that got hit 22 times that was recorded, and the other times they didn't count, which I still don't understand why that happened. He like they keep mentioning like every time he got hit by lightning, he was a little bit more fucked up. Like the way they said it
Yeah.
though was like it would be surprising. Like each time he got hit, it was a little bit more fucked up. I'm like, no shit. Like you're getting hit by something that's coming from the heavens. Like you don't have
Mm.
time to fucking prepare for that.
No, you don't.
But
You can't run away from that.
that's possible though, because it's not the voltage that kills you, it's something else, right? So
The
like it can
amperage.
so okay, so the amperage apparently in a thunderbolt is fucking low as hell. So
Yeah.
Zeus's, I guess, pitching game has to be strong as shit to really. But he would talk about like it would blow his shoes off. He was like, a couple times it blew my
Yeah.
shoes off. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I do you want that story? Do you want to say you survived being hit by lightning, or do you want to say you
For
survived?
sure.
But a tsunami seems easier. Like I feel like I'm a good swimmer, you know.
Yeah, but like, okay, a tsunami. I assume if with a tsunami that there's going to be some property damage too, right? Which means I'm going to have to fix up my house, and that just seems like more of an inconvenience than anything else.
Okay, I'm gonna do
I'd
this.
rather get hit by a lightning bolt.
We're going to do a sandbox. I have you in the middle of an open field, and a lightning
Okay,
bolt can either hit you or a tsunami that came out of fucking nowhere.
I still go with the lightning bolt,
Why?
straight up, because I know what to expect. I don't feel like drowning. I
You
hate it.
can you hold your breath? I can hold my breath a minute and 30 seconds. I can survive a tsunami.
I can't.
Okay. Fair.
Okay,
Fair
I'll
enough.
sink like a rock for sure. 100% sink like a rock. I've been hit with electricity. I know what to expect, but not like that much. But
You're getting me interested in like going into a weather career where I honestly just want to describe weather to people because I feel like they do it a disservice. Like they're like, it's going to be 75 and sunny with a
uh,
humidity of 65. I'm like, hold on a second. You got to explain that better. If there's a tsunami coming, they go, tsunami is coming. You have to evacuate. I would be like, a giant wall of water that has been manifested by this being and creature that you're living on has created this thing that is going to consume all life like an open fucking trash compactor, just consuming it all. I would explain it like that to where people are like, he's got a good point. Like,
bring some real to it.
yeah, like at least
Yeah.
hype it up, even if it's like a small little like, you ever been to like the ocean and it's low tide and that little wave hits you, you're like, I am stronger than all of man. And then this giant wave just comes and knocks you on your
Smacks
ass.
in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never been.
Never
Oh
been?
no, wait, I
Wait,
lie.
never been to the ocean?
I've been to the in Italy once. No, I went to Florida once too.
Wait, hold on. I live in a beach town. So you saying like I've been there once is like
Once, yeah.
that's what I say when I'm saying like I've been to Disneyland. Like I've been there
Yeah.
once
Yeah, exactly. I just don't get out of Toronto much.
because it's just snow
It's
there.
it's just snow, and I don't know. It's nice where I live, so I don't have the need to want to get out. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
No, you don't know what I mean.
I don't.
No, I don't know. I'm a city boy. I've been born and raised in the city, and this is where I enjoy and live. You know what I mean?
It gave you
Like
that.
I live. Okay, my backyard looks like a cottage, a small cottage, but it's I enjoy it.
With like
So
a
I don't
meadow and
I don't
shit?
feel the need.
Do you have like a
No, it's
meadow?
just cottagey. Like it's not like primed and perfect, and there's imperfections everywhere, and
If you asked
it's
me like what would my like if I looked at you right now and without knowing your job and knowing you as a person, and you asked me what would I say you look like? I would say you look like a guy that would live in like a log cabin. Like, when you look at the maple syrup and they have the log cabin on front. But then I would be like, this guy creates his own fucking jams and shit. Like I would just be like, hey man, what do you do? You're like, I got my own assorted jam collection. You're like, what? And then you just take me to this backyard shack and open it up, and there's just layers upon layers of jams.
that'll be a lot of fun. Syrup,
Would
syrup is the thing.
would you want that life though? Would you want to live the jam lifestyle?
No, because my wife would kill me. My wife would like straight up kill me.
She would
She
have
needs to
to
be
agree with it.
she needs to be close to public transit. So we're like 10 minutes away from subway, and like she can go wherever she wants. She doesn't drive.
Well, some couples have separate beds. Is it possible to have separate homes, or is that is that what we call divorce? I have no clue.
That's straight up divorce. I mean, you could, right? And you just come to a mutual understanding that you live here and I live here, and just enjoy, each other every once in a while. That's not really divorce. That's just, eh,
Yeah, but
that's Italian living.
you see those videos where they're sitting there like, I think you need to go over to your bed now. That whole scenario. Imagine trying to do that with a house, like,
I have to tell you, the best. Okay,
All right.
we have two single beds pushed together. Now we push the mattresses together. Okay, no. This is like we have no headboards or anything like that. It's just like mattresses on the floor. Okay,
All right.
but they're pushed together. It's the size of a king size bed.
All right.
But if somebody's moving, the other person's not feeling it, and it is fantastic.
Wait, so you don't keep them separate? You just have them together?
No,
Okay.
we just squeeze them together, so you're still together, but you don't have to like if somebody's rolling over or something like that, you're not gonna feel it. It gives you that little bit of separation. It's fantastic, and like the thing is huge. I mean, when we had two dogs, both of the dogs, one was a boxer and one was an American bulldog slash mastiff, and both of them were in the same. The best, the best.
You're cheating the Tempur-Pedic game there, sir.
I love it. I love it. I'll never go back to a single mattress again. It's so beautiful, man.
I was about to say- For a second, you were frozen on my screen. I was just looking at you,
Oh,
and then all I heard was, "It's so beautiful, man." I'm like, "What does he do? What does he like?" You could be looking down at your like chest hair and be like, "It's so beautiful, man," like describing something to me.
it glistens.
It glistens in the moonlight. Imagine rubbing yourself with assorted jams, because like when you talk about if you talk about living out
Is
in
that
the
the commercial?
that's what I'm saying.
Come enjoy a Coyle's Jazz.
Because like people talk about like the Amish or something, and they talk about being Mormon, they talk about all these things that they don't have. I'm like, but one problem they really don't, and I actually had to research this of like how do they afford to live? Like, you got rent, I got rent. When you pay
Yeah.
rent, you're like, how are the Amish doing this when all they do is seem like they just build buildings all day? Apparently, depending on where you're from, they're gifted land, like they own that land, so then they don't have to pay like tax and shit on it. But if they're gonna buy new land, they have to go to the bank. And I just immediately pictured when I read that was two Amish people on a horse just going into like J.C. Penney. Not that's a clothing store. I mean, what is the also Farmers Bank? Is that a bank? I try to recount all the commercials I saw when I was a kid, but all I can remember is the jingles.
In Canada, it's okay. There's like three major banks. You got like BMO, no, four major banks: CIBC, TD, which you guys probably have over there, right?
They
You guys have
sound
TD over
like
there?
they sound like fucking monopoly railroads. What you just named to
They
me.
are.
Are
They
you?
essentially they are.
Oh my god.
They're just big monopolies. They're big banks, but they have. See, I think you guys have a different banking system, don't you? You guys have like little banks, right?
We
Like
have a lot
little
of
mom and
banks.
pop banks.
I guess so. If you want to call them mom and pops, I think they're probably all owned by like one giant corporation going under like a security guard. They might all be owned by Papa John's.
Maybe, maybe, and he's just a mortgager.
I really want to make a public apology to him, but I feel like I'm too confined to the era of like you are a cult leader, so you have to kind of keep that
Or
idea.
you're just stuck in that mindset, so you can't even make an apology.
I hope he messages me one day like, "Hey man, can you like give me a break?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, bud. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll
You
send."
still.
I wanted to send him a shirt, but I guess he didn't care.
Well, no, I guess not, eh?
Now
Oh well.
I want to hear about this edible story. Come on now.
What about it?
What do
Okay,
you I've never heard of anybody get a trip or get something off an edible story. Like I've gotten really, really high before to where like, it's gotten to be a bad experience. Like you look off
okay.
your
What was your bad
balcony.
experience?
Um, felt my nuts go into my asshole. I know that sounds really stupid, but that was like I was too high, and apparently the way I was sitting was like enough to where it was like slouched in the chair, and I guess it was a mix of like the heat warmers in the seat made it seem
Mhm.
like I was losing them. So I had
Mhm.
this like come to God moment where you look at the weed and you're like, never again in my entire life will I ever feel this pain ever again, and I can never
Yeah.
undo that. So
Yeah.
I've had that before. I've had it where like I've gotten so high that I've gotten sick before vomiting. When it
Okay.
comes to like, I smoke weed and then you get the spins, like, when you feel like you're on that amusement ride that's spinning around constantly,
Yeah.
that was in the back of my head. So my
Uh-huh.
eyes felt like they were rolling around. And then it felt like someone turned the saturation up, like on Instagram, where you could just turn it all the way up to the right. So everything was bright colors. Like outside, it was the sunset and it was just red, like a volcano was going off. And then my brain just took me to this place like we're in a Jurassic time period. And then I'm in my buddy's car at the time, so he's doing donuts and shit, like fucking around because he's
Oh, that's
enjoying
even
it.
worse.
Then eventually, he just looks at me, he goes, "Dude, you don't look so good." And I look in the mirror, I'm pale white,
No
eyes
kidding.
are yellow, and I just gone.
Fuck. Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. That's like on the same level that I was at. Like I don't get high. I don't get
What do you
I
mean you
don't
don't
do
get
drugs.
high?
I don't get high. Like I drink maybe alcohol once in a blue moon. I have a good time, but it's not like I get like I don't smoke weed. I I don't do that stuff, right?
But edibles.
So, but this was like maybe the second time I did it. The first time I took a fairly low dose. Um, Second time I didn't take a low dose, and that's where things just went. It went fantastic, like super amazing, to like really bad, like pretty quickly. So the first time we did it, I just got like the munchies, like I couldn't stop eating, and I'm looking at my wife as she's barfing in the in the toilet. The poor woman. So she had the spins, and then she's just like started
Yeah.
like throwing up. She threw up like 9 times that night. That was horrible. Poor girl. So she's never doing that again.
And you were just
Um,
sitting there eating while
I'm
watching
just
that
there
happen.
eating, watching it in the in the doorway. You okay, babe?
Hey, just hey, fuck's wrong with you? Like just munch down on chips.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down.
They're just popping
So
around the corner. You having you all right?
you okay?
You okay? I'm gonna tear up this
But
bag of fucking Funyuns over here while you're barfing I'm gonna order a pizza. You hungry? It's like, all right. She wants extra toppings, like like that.
so so have you ever done edibles?
Those are actually the ones I prefer to do, only
Okay.
because like I don't. The issue is when you smoke it, you get a burn in your throat and stuff. But
Yeah.
edibles, I've just had a way better high experience where I'm like, I don't feel the need to get like I don't ever get to that point where I'm too high.
Right.
I've had a great experiences on all of them. I had one experience. I was sitting on a couch watching this show called Getting Doug with High with Doug Benson, where he has people on and all they do is just smoke massive amounts of weed. And there's a
Okay.
guy, famous comedian Todd Glass. I don't know if you ever heard of him,
I want to say I do.
but he was on there and he was getting so high, but then like I'm watching it and it makes time feel like it's going by like so fucking slow, I would say.
Mm,
And he just
uh-huh.
looks at the camera and goes, "Hey, you, yeah, you sitting there on the couch eating a bag of chips." And I was eating a bag of pretzels and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then like everyone's like, "Todd, what are you doing on the show?" And he just goes, "There's somebody out there right now that's probably high off his ass watching this, and that's gonna be fun for them." And I'm like, he's talking to me. Like it was like this whole experience where I was like, it was so perfect. Like
That's pretty cool.
I had tweeted at him, I'm like, "Thank you for understanding that there's an audience out there listening to you at that moment. And even through your highness, you pulled yourself away from reality and you talk to the virtual person at home, whether or not they're doing whatever they're doing." That could have been, you ever just like, I'm not
Yeah,
even going to
breaking
say
that
that.
fourth
Yeah.
wall is a nice thing. It makes you feel a part of the experience,
I
right?
know. Yes. It's
Especially
beautiful.
if you're high off your fucking ass,
Making jams and shit. Oh my God.
making jams and shit and shit. So what happened? Okay, so the second time I took it, I took I was given a Lego block. You know the Lego block that has like the 4 dot or the 8 dots on it.
The what dot?
Okay, so like how Legos have dots on them, right? It's
Yeah.
got like okay, the 4x2s.
You drain
So I
out
was
the
given a
liquid. Yeah.
4x2. Yeah. So I had a square of 2x2, and that no, sorry, I first ate a 1x2. An hour and a half went by, nothing was going on, and then I ate another 1x2. Another half an hour goes by, and that's when it starts. Like I'm just chilling out on the couch, and I try to move, and my legs are dead to the world, and I'm dying laughing. I'm like, I can't go to work tomorrow because my legs are not gonna work. And that just was the funniest shit to me. And so I'm dying laughing on the couch. My wife is videoing me every once in a while because she's getting a rise out of this. And then we decide to call my mom because I think it's gonna be funny. And she seemed a little more irritated than anything. But I start hearing like tweets, tweet, tweet, tweet. And I'm like looking around for this bird in this house, and it's not. It's on the FaceTime. It's not. It's in their house, not in my house.
Did your
So
mom
I'm
see
tripping
all
out,
this?
thinking,
Like,
"Oh
did
yeah,
she?
she's looking at me like, what's wrong with you?"
Oh my God.
And I'm listening. I'm trying to find this bird in my house, and I can't find this bird. And then another time, just like 2 minutes after that, I'm looking at the dog beside me, and I'm like, "What are you judging me for? Stop judging me. Why are you judging me?
Did you
Stop
actually?
judging me."
Did you actually feel like the dog was judging you though?
I totally did because she was looking at me with those judgy eyes, and I'm like, "Stop judging me.
I had that
I'm having a
happen.
good time."
I like because I would always be in these events where I would just be sitting at the house, and then like my older brother was the person I smoke with, so he'd be like, "Hey, like let's go smoke." I'm like, "Okay, sure." I got nothing else to do. It's fucking 4 o'clock. I got nothing else pinned for the rest of the night. Might as well. So we had a drum set in the middle of our family room because
Mm.
that just there was a random event that happened. I came home one day and there was a drum set just sitting in there. So he goes, I have to go meet up with some friends, so I'm gonna drop you off at the house. And I'm high as shit. So as I managed to get out of the car and walk all the way up into my driveway and get inside the house, the first thing I did was I walked to the freezer and pulled out a giant thing of Friendly's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Mm.
Sit on the couch, turn on fucking Ghost Rider, the original one, not Spirit of Vengeance. And I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there and my dog is just looking at me and I'm like, I'm full on like a spoon in the container, eating the whole thing. And I just look over and like see my dog looking at me. And the first thought I had in my head was like, don't judge me. Even though I didn't feel like the dog was judging me, it was just dead staring at me. And then like I got over it, I ended up giving him a little bit of ice cream. Then he ran off and everything. And the next thing I know, like an hour later, I'm just on the drum set. Like I felt like time was skipping. Like next thing I know, I was at the freezer. Next thing I know, I was at the drum set. Then I'm like at the drum set
Yeah.
and I'm doing this doom doo doom doo just over and over again. Like it sounded so good in my head, like I was playing like Chili Peppers or something, but I wasn't.
Mm.
I was doing
Mm.
awful. And
Mm.
it's like now 6 p.m. I'm just going doom doo da doom doo da, and then like dog look around the corner, just sitting there staring at me, and I'm looking at it like I feel even fucking worse now. Stop judging me. And it's like this whole constant, like I ended up just letting him outside, like on the back porch, and just keeping him out there so I could just be my freaking
Just be
peace.
you. Let me
Like
be me.
you gotta a lot of times when you're like, I notice it because like whenever I'm like a friend of mine's high or something, I'm sitting there like they catch themselves being weird. Like you catch yourselves doing something like, whoa, hold on. I just got too high for a moment. Like you ended up
Yeah.
slipping into it. Like if you
Yeah.
let your eyes glaze back far enough, you fall into this trip where it's like next thing you know, you're like, why are you taking your pants off? You're like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I thought I was
I
home and
thought I
I
was alone.
thought I was
Where'd you guys come from?
totally forgot you were there. I was like, yeah, dude. I said I went to go get a water bottle. He goes, oh, I thought you went to the store to get some water. You've been gone for like 4 hours. Dude, I was gone 20 seconds.
Right? Doesn't time just like it flies, eh?
So
Holy shit. I thought I was living like a week, and it was like maybe an hour. It was
that's
messed up.
that's really bad when you're super high because you're like, this is never going to end.
It was horrible. Like my mind was like going through so many different thoughts. And the worst part of it is that because like I legit was hearing like 6 or 7 different voices of myself, right? Telling me what to do. Do this, go do this, go do this. No, 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 do this. I had an evil one. That was the bad one. You don't want to listen to that guy. That guy was horrible.
He's
He
the
was
one
telling
that
me to
when you go
like,
up to a balcony, he's like, just jump, you can fly. You're
that
like,
was
no,
him. He
I
was like,
can't.
kill the judgy dog. And I'm like, no, don't. You don't do that. Like,
Oh my
it was
God.
bad. That was the evil guy. I didn't want to listen to that guy. But he was there. And it's like the other guys are like telling him, like, just shut the fuck up and sit back down. So it was horrible. Horrible.
I so when you do have experiences like that, that's why I was like, it's not worth it to me because I've had too many of
No.
those bad experiences where I'm just like, I don't, but then you do it the next day and then you're like, fuck, I'm at the same thing again. Like, I think my whole high school year was like, I mean, most of my high school years were probably like just getting way too baked. I don't know
Mm.
why. And I wasn't even like into it. I don't know. There were certain parts about it that were fun, but like then it was like all you do is sleep all the time. It's like, yeah, because I'm too stoned. I'm trying to like calm it
You
down.
do
And
it
the only way I can
just
think
to
of is
do
go to
it, or
bed.
what?
Well, yeah, it was like my brother was home, so he was like, "Hey, you want to get high?" I'm like, "I got to go to school." He's like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm not doing that today." But I
Yeah.
mean, I was so lazy where I watched Step Brothers, I think a total of 236 times in like a matter of like 2 months because it was
Wow.
it was the only disc in my Xbox, and I was way too lazy to get up and change it. But I was more than willing to go downstairs, grab one of those. Like your perception is also off, not with time, but with sizes of objects. Like I grabbed one of those giant like turkey bowls, like the ones you would put like a family size thing of mashed potatoes in, like the huge like
Yeah.
ones you would put fruit in. The fake fruit. I just poured a whole box of cereal in there and I poured a whole bunch of milk in there and I was like, I can eat all this. And I'm just sitting there watching Friday or Step Brothers, just eating a thing of cereal. And the next thing I know, I'm like
Oh,
laying on the
perfect
couch
movie
all
to be
day.
watching stoned, eh?
But people are like, how was your weekend, Rob? I'm like, I don't really fucking remember it, but I know I tore open a shit ton of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like, I don't know. Like, eventually you're just making food. Like, there's a comedian, his name's Bo Burnham. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
But he was like, there's a difference between making food in your kitchen when you're drunk and when you're high. He did the high version, and it's this whole glorified experience where he's dancing around the kitchen, music's fucking playing. He grabs like the peanut butter, grabs off the shelf, takes the knife, slowly swicks it into the peanut butter, and then flicks it onto a sandwich. And he does like this whole like dancing routine and everything. And then he goes, when he's this is you when you're making it drunk. And it's just him sloshing around the kitchen, like grabbing stuff. And he grabs the peanut butter, grabs a giant spoonful, and just slaps his whole hand on the table. And his mom comes home and she's like, huh, and he like puts the jar of peanut butter behind his back and she's like, what are you doing? What is that behind your back? He goes, nothing. He's like, go to bed. He goes, look at this mess you made in the kitchen. He's like, I'll clean it up. And he's like all drunk, like talking. And she goes, what's that behind your back? He goes, oh, it's a fucking jar of peanut butter. She goes, that's not peanut butter at all. That's mayonnaise. And he was just putting mayonnaise all over him. And I'm like, that is the when you're drunk compared to when you're high is two different experiences. Because when you're high, you'll test stuff out. That's when I discovered peanut butter and eggs work. Like I didn't even know that would be a good
Really?
combination, dude. Egg whites and then powdered peanut butter. You put a little bit of water in the peanut butter and mix it up nice
Sorry,
and thick.
sorry, hold on. Powdered peanut butter. What's that?
It's peanut butter that's like just powder, and then you put water in it to change the consistency. So if you want it like really runny, you would make it like really watery. You put a lot of water in there. But if you wanted it like solid and thick, you put a little dash of water in there and then mix it up. It's like 50 calories total, but it's like 8 grams of protein. So when you're in like the weightlifting and doing all that type of stuff, that's like a really good peanut butter because regular peanut butter is like 250 something calories for a spoonful.
Okay.
I'm like, this you could eat half a fucking jar and not feel bad.
Wow. That's crazy. I've never heard of this. We have Kraft peanut butter
What the fuck
and
is
we have
that?
Jif. Like those are the popular
There
ones.
you go. Jif is good. Jif makes
I
jams. We're back
I
to the
like
jams.
I like my Kraft peanut butter. It's in the background there. Uh, Kraft, if you're hearing this, I'm fully endorsing your peanut butter because I eat it with a spoon and it's the best ever. Kraft peanut butter.
Do you eat it out of the peanut butter
Yeah.
and you share that with your family
Yeah. No, no, no. I don't stick my hand in there. I just, stick
with
a
a
spoon
spoon
in there
though?
and that's it.
But that's like double dipping.
No, no, I just go for the single and that's it.
You're telling me you have an assortment of spoons lined up in front of you and you're using each bite a different spoon.
No, no. All I need is one
That's right.
tablespoon
You're
of peanut
double.
butter and that's
Okay.
it.
Oh, just one. You're not going back for a second scoop.
No, 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 no.
You don't
And even
sometimes
still, it's just
sneak a
me and my
second scoop.
wife.
Come on.
So whatever I got, she's got it now, so it doesn't matter. We share it.
I don't like that. I think there's a level of wealth everyone should try and reach towards, and that's each spoonful you grab of peanut butter should be from a different jar of peanut butter, where you could just have, oh, done with this one, then give that to the
Uh-huh.
homeless.
Give that to the homeless, just straight up.
Just fucking
Just throw it out. Here
toss
you
a thing of
go.
Jif to him. The guy's like, "Oh my god, thank you. All I wanted was $1." You're like, "Well, guess what? I got some Jif for you." And he's just like, "I'm fucking got a peanut allergy." I'm like, "Well, then sorry, you're kind of screwed on that end."
Can you imagine if you have this house I did work at? He had a what do you call it? Not a conveyor. Shoot. A lift, a car lift, okay, that went into an underground garage. So imagine, and then he had dug out his front area, and made it into a garage in the basement. It was insane. So can you imagine that huge basement, which is the size of my house, just filled with skids of peanut butter, and then like and that's it. Just you take your one spoon and you throw it out into the garbage, ready for the homeless people.
It's like the movie Signs when she leaves all the half glasses of water everywhere. You just walk
Right,
down in the basement,
right.
there's just half things of peanut butter everywhere. From working at my work, I think I've officially hated peanut butter because I make the shakes with the peanut butter in it. But when you get a scoop of peanut butter and you have to keep opening up and grab the same spoon out of there, you got to dig it out of there, through all the peanut butter and stuff. You got a glove on, and sure, but somehow it
Uh,
always gets on me. Like I'll have it on my hoodie. I'm like,
always.
and then when I fall asleep, your hands smell like peanut butter. So like I sleep with my hand on my face. I'm smelling peanut butter. I'm like, eventually at this point, I'm just so disgusted with it. It's like Nutella. Like I fucking hate Nutella.
You hate Nutella?
It's dog shit. They could
That's
be giving you.
sacrilege!
They could
Don't
be
even
giving.
talk to me now. No, no, no. Are you kidding? You hate Nutella?
No, and I don't like Costco because they serve an 8-pound drum of it.
Okay, that's just a little much. Okay,
There's a
and
freaking
it's not cost
documentary.
effective.
There's a documentary on Netflix right now that I just saw called 1,000 Pound Sisters. And I think both of them each weigh 500
Those ones,
pounds.
yeah, 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 where they have like these massive foreheads and shit. And you can't
Hang
even see
on.
their
You got to
eyes.
be careful here because you're fat shaming technically. So you have
I
to
don't
say,
care. Cancel
that's.
culture. Cancel me up.
Uh,
Eh, eh.
you're not the one with the goddamn show. I'm just kidding.
Okay, sorry, obese Canadians and Americans. My apologies. Now let's continue on with this conversation of the 1,000 pound sisters that's on a show that's nationally syndicated.
Here's the issue is because I talk to a lot of people that feel the same way about this. It's like, it's not fat shaming because then
It's
they're like,
horrible.
that's not saying that's not beautiful. They're just saying that's not healthy. That's what people are
It's
saying.
not. It's
Yeah,
not healthy.
that's what that's the issue is people go saying you're fat shaming. She's beautiful. It's like we're not saying
No,
that she's not beautiful. We're
not
saying that
healthy.
it's not healthy. When you have to get a crane to lift you out of your bed, that's a really big issue. Like,
Yeah.
there's a level of health where you still need to function and do stuff, but eventually, like for me, if I ever got like that, eventually I would like to see my dick one day. Like I want to know if it's still alive. I don't want somebody telling
Yeah.
me like lifting up a fold and being like, "Hey, it's still okay. It's a bit purple, but that
I'd
might
be
be
more concerned that it was rotting off from cheese.
cheese."
Yeah, fold cheese, that stuff like in the folds. Like you gotta get in between the folds and like chip away at the
Is
skin
this where
cheese,
you're
right?
collecting your assorted jams? You just have a
That's the
storage
secret
of
ingredient.
You just have a
Mm.
storage of Weight Watchers people in a back shack where it's like, hang on a second, need to grab some jam and just swab a little butter knife coming through.
That's so nasty,
See,
man.
that went from a
That's
beautiful
disgusting.
look. That went from a beautiful college or a cottage scenario where you're like living in the mountains and you're walking down to your cottage to go open up your
Yeah.
shack and you have all these assorted jams to where now it's turned into this creepy massacre scenario where you open up your back room, go into a fucking cold storage thing. There's a bunch of fat or a bunch
You
of
just put me on
overweight
the same
people.
level as Papa John right now.
No, Buffalo Bill, whatever that dude.
Oh,
It
Buffalo
puts
Bill,
it
yeah.
puts the lotion in the basket until it gets the jams again.
It kills me. Whenever I hear that song that he does when he dances to it, it kills me every time.
Never seen that movie, but I know the reference.
You know the reference because you probably watched like Jerry and Silent Bob, right?
I watched a bunch of stuff where they use that exact same thing. Like there was a Family
It's
Guy episode where Meg was in there, and he was like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
"Yeah." Peter comes in and goes, "Meg, can you toss up the whatever the car keys or something like that?" And like decides not to help her. Like I'm just like,
Mm.
"Oh my goodness!" Like I would hate to be that person.
So I thought okay, let's get back to the 1,000 pound sisters. I
What's there to
don't
else to
know.
talk about?
I thought you were like, and oh, that was just strictly a reference. That wasn't like a breaking point to
I mean,
talking
it's
about the sisters.
I don't want it to get to a point where people feel the need to just stuff their face until they weigh 1,000 pounds just to get a documentary about them on Netflix. Like, like there
Yeah,
was the whole My Plate thing is canceled because you can't tell people what to eat because it's technically fat shaming. And I'm like, well, there's a point where you need to understand what healthy is. I mean, if you're passing out every time you eat a meal, you're probably not doing so well health wise. Like
probably not.
I'm a big fitness guy and I understand enjoying life a little bit, like having a slice of cake, but
Mhm.
eventually you got to realize like there's a level of health that you need when it comes to like cholesterol. Like there's good cholesterol and then there's
Mhm.
really bad cholesterol. So you want
Yeah,
to make sure that your organs are still working and not filled with like bacon grease or tree sap.
yeah. Oh, honey, this is Rob. Rob, this is my wife, Tony.
Hello. I waved.
Hey
Did she see
there.
it?
You can't. She can't hear you, but she's saying hi. Sounds good, honey.
Oh,
Oh. So, anyways, back. Okay, let's get back to the edible scenario. So I was told by the person that gave me the edible to, if I was getting a really bad high, if I knew I was getting a bad high, to take a hot shower, which was probably the worst thing I could have friggin' done because it gave me the spins like right after that, and I was like up chucking, and I had to like throw myself in bed right after that. And my wife's laughing right now because she was on the phone that entire time.
well, it's funny you said the shower scenario because that's what I do to come down. Like it's like
Well,
milk.
that's
Like
what he said, like to
yeah.
come down, right? But for me, it had like the worst effect because it just made me worse. Like I was getting like the spins really bad. I had to
Can
like
you
I went straight to
imagine
bed.
being high in a tsunami?
You kidding? You want to survive?
Dude, I
No
think
way.
that's what might solve our natural disaster crisis. Everybody complains about these natural disasters. Imagine if you were so high, you probably would think of it completely differently. Like it's hailing like size, like minivan sized hail. Like
Mm.
you would probably be like, this is an amazing occurrence. Like I would love a person that was a weatherman describe to me while they were stoned off their ass. Like just talking about, there's a hurricane coming, a giant vortex that eats people. Like I'm like, oh
Okay.
my God, this guy's entertaining.
It has to be like a good high, not like a bad high.
Well,
Because
it can't
then
be
those
like a
people would
Disney
be
World
like,
high. Like a Disney World high is like if you notice, like the reason why I think people here's another theory that's going to get Walt Disney pissed at me. I don't know if his head. Well, apparently he's not alive anymore. I talked to that one paranormal lady that said that. Yeah,
oh, he's
he's
not alive anymore. That's it. He's finally dead.
no. And I asked him about the
Poor
frozen
guy.
head thing too. Apparently that's not true either. But when I say like Disney World, for instance, they all look really stoned at Disney World, and I was always wondering what that was. I think it's because like they're something in the food there, like a funnel cake or a freaking rock candy or something that's just doping them because they seem like they're caught in this. And maybe it's the nostalgia effect gives them like this high feeling, but it's like everyone's really stoned. I love Disney World. It's like,
Hold on.
what?
Are you talking about the people going there or the people that work there?
Both.
Both, eh?
How much when you go to Disney World and
Never
then
been.
you never been? Okay. Well,
Never
most of the time you go to an amusement park like that, people say time
been.
flies when you're having fun. No, you just remember pulling in the parking lot and then you remember leaving. You're like, what did we just do for 8 hours? It's like, I have no clue. That time is gone. Like you went into the Matrix for 8 hours.
See, okay, when we have something called Canada's Wonderland up here,
Well, no,
and
Marine Land is the bad one.
yeah, that's like shitty. That's horrible. I feel
I
bad
watched a
for like all those
documentary on
sea
them.
world or these
Yeah.
sea animals and stuff. It's
I watched
horrible.
a documentary about Marine Land where they showed videos of people force feeding the animals there. Like I saw all the background stuff at Marine Land in Canada. It was bad.
I remember getting attacked by like the deer when you have like a snow cone or an ice cream cone full of like pellets, and then like all these deer come at you, like trying to get at these pellets. It's so funny.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? At Marineland,
What I've never been. I don't live in Canada, but what
honey,
I
don't
was
they have deer at Marineland? You never been? She's never been to Marineland. She lives here.
and that's your okay. Hang on a second.
My family was poor, and yet you managed to go to Italy every year.
And
My family was poor.
you married a damn jam salesman.
So, anyways, so yes, they do have. I'm pretty darn sure they have deer at Marineland. So yeah, so they these deer will attack you for these pellets, and like they just go straight for the pellets. It's not like they like pounce on you and like clove you to death and shit. What?
That would be a
It's
way
funny
better.
to see a kid just like scream their head off because these deer are trying to go for these pellets out of this ice cream cone. They're like this. No, no.
That's sadistic, but that would be a
So
way
funny.
better amusement ride if you just give people like a bunch of like pellets that like deer are just go frenzied for. So then you would just walk them
Oh,
and then these deers would just clobber the shit. Like that's the people's amusements. Like watch this. Like, have you ever been to like let's say like a carnival, for instance? You know when those carnies like Lizard Man, that was a big thing when I was a kid. Where did that go? Because I really enjoyed those events.
see now you're shaming the carnies, man. You can't that you're putting them up on display and shit. You
I'm
can't do
saying
that.
I love them. They're doing it because they know if you look like a reptile, you might as well go with the skid and go do a show.
You're not wrong, buddy. But
I
I
know
think
I'm
that
not wrong. Oh, dude, remember how we talked about PETA?
Maybe.
The last time we did an episode, we talked about PETA. The first time you were on, and we talked about the animal
Okay.
crackers and how they banned the animals. They took out the bars on the animal crackers, so the animals are not behind bars.
What?
Think it
Really?
think it through, dude. Okay, so
Dude, are you kidding me? That
and
was like,
I will
dude, I can't even remember what happened last week.
you know what? I remember every conversation because I actually care about you.
How?
Nice to know you feel the same. Thanks.
How do you remember every
Thanks.
single conversation?
Because
How is that brain so packed with information?
if I didn't remember this, I would have room for like birds or math or some dumb shit I don't need in my life. I rather know conversations with people where we can talk about Papa John's being a cult leader.
See, that's the thing. I only have information for electrical shit. My wife tells me that I make up shit like past experiences that I would relay a story to, let's say, my parents, and my wife is sitting right there, and I'll tell them a full out story that I believe happened, and she looks at me, she goes, "That didn't fucking happen at all. Where'd you get that shit?"
You're creating false memories.
False memories,
That
and
happens.
she'll like break up in there and like, no, it happened like this, and like this, and I feel like I'm being gaslighted, okay, and that I made to feel like crazy.
She's
But
making you paranoid and a fucking she's giving you mental health issues. To the point where you're like, everything's a lie. Did I go to the store? I don't know. And then you open up your fridge and they're stocked with groceries. Like, no, I went to the store. And you're like, oh my God, I might have thought I went to the store when I really, dude, that would make you schizophrenic as hell.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why
like
schizophrenics can't trust anybody.
that's right. It's like, what do you call it? Forced what's that shit that you lose your memory? See, like right now, I can't
Amnesia?
remember shit. No.
Amnesia is forgetting things, or dementia.
Dementia. No, dementia's seeing things.
Dementia
Oh
is
my,
not seeing things.
yeah.
No. Ask her right now. Just shout to her.
She
Say,
had dementia. No, not she.
ask her.
Her grandmother had dementia.
Ask her.
And
It's
she
not
would
seeing
like see
things.
like flying nuns and shit like that.
What kind
I'm
of
not even. I'm not
she was
kidding.
high. She
She
was
was
high.
not high. Well, maybe
Ask
she
her
was.
right now what dementia is, and I guarantee you she'll tell you it's forgetting something.
No, it's what's that? Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. There you go.
Alzheimer's and dementia. They're both forgetful things. Dementia.
Honey, dementia. That's when you see shit, right?
Nonna had dementia.
Yeah, okay, but that's when you see shit, right? Like you see things that aren't there. Yeah. Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I
Nonna
told
I'm
you.
saw
gonna-
flying cars, remember?
Yeah, she saw flying cars and nuns across the street and stuff,
All right.
right?
Everybody's
Yeah,
on
she would
drugs.
hear like nuns like
I'm bringing
like
it to Google.
sing in the background and shit.
I'm bringing it to Google.
Nuns, one time she thought there was water coming in the house and she was like trying to swim and suffocating.
Oh wow, that's pretty bad. See, that's where
Dementia.
it gets bad.
Dementia. Symptoms include forgetfulness, limited social skills, and thinking abilities so impaired that it interferes with daily functioning.
Okay, I didn't say it was like
Psychologically, it
forgetting.
affects you depression, hallucination, and paranoia.
see hallucination right there.
Also common, memory loss, falling, jumbled speech, or sleep disorder.
Okay, so it's a more severe version of Alzheimer's.
Well,
Alzheimer's, you just
it's
forget a lot of shit, and sometimes you can even
no
like your body
Alzheimer's.
forgets to like.
Alzheimer's is 10 times worse. Alzheimer's happens slowly. Would you rather it all fucking hit you at once, where you're suffering with a severe order, or would you rather have it pay off in a whole long way? Imagine to a point where someone says you have Alzheimer's, and you're slowly realizing that you're going to be forgetting everything that ever happened to your life,
Oh, that's
to a point where you don't
the
know who you are
worst.
anymore. That's what I'm saying. That's what scares me. That and Lou Gehrig's disease, where the person gets locked inside of their own body. Oh my God. You want to talk
What's
about
that? Sorry?
anxiety.
You
There's
mean
that
locked in their own body.
the ice
What,
bucket
like they're like
challenge.
this?
You know the ice bucket challenge, ALS.
Okay, sure.
Eventually, you don't the whole ice
Yeah,
bucket challenge.
no. I
Okay.
saw the videos and stuff like that
Okay.
where they were doing the ice bucket challenge.
That's a severe disorder where literally your body, you start losing motor functions to the point where you're literally a vegetable. Like you just slowly get to the state of being a vegetable where you can see
Like that
people.
movie Awakenings
Yeah,
with
but like
Robert De Niro.
people can talk to you and do all this stuff. You just can't respond, but you can hear them, you can pay attention to them, but you can't do anything.
Yeah,
Your body literally locks you down to where you're just
yeah,
stuck in your mind 24/7.
that was a good movie.
It's a
That was a
terrible
great
disease
movie.
though. Yeah.
No, but it was a good movie. It was a good performance. I remember when Robert De Niro was, or not Robert De Niro,
I'm
Robin
fucking
Williams
talking about a
was a
really severe
doctor.
disease, and you're talking about Rob.
I'm just saying, is that was
Drop
a
the
good
Patch Adams
movie.
reference for 5 seconds. Let's get
He was a
real.
doctor in that too, and he was giving
People
them
died,
cocaine.
Adam.
He was
People
giving them
died.
cocaine, and he was like snapping out of like the Lou Gehrig's disease. But the problem is that he had to have like more and more and more of it. It was that was the bad part. That was sad.
What was I talking about amusement parks? I had a really
We
good
were
point to
talking
add
about the
before you started
stoicism
talking about
on.
flying nuns or something like that.
We were talking about how people are very stoic at the amusement parks,
I would
and you were like,
love to
I
own an
think they
amusement
pump
park.
it full of like oxygen or some kind of like,
Oxygen.
yeah, just like the casinos or
It's just
whatever.
air.
They pump, yeah, air. Exactly. Like whenever you go to
Amusement
a
parks.
casino, you're never tired because they pump the place full of oxygen and you feel great.
Well, they eliminated like smoking in casinos now.
Yeah, I know, but they still pump it with oxygen though.
I don't think so.
Yeah, man.
I used to work at
100%.
I used to work at a casino.
Okay, well,
I felt
100%
even more
Ontario for
tired when I
sure.
went in there.
I don't know. Okay,
You know how many
I'm just
people I
talking
would
out of my
grab a
ass now.
broom and just sweep them off the lottery machine? Like, come on, get out of here. Just poke them with the stick. Like, come on, wake
Get
up,
from the penny
stop
machine.
playing fucking Keno, and like you're just poking the shit out of them.
I can't say I've had that experience. I'll be honest.
I guess I've lived a lot of lives in a short
You
amount of
have.
time. Now, amusement parks. If you could create your own amusement park, what would be the ride that you'd benefit on? Like, what would be the one main attraction? Would you do roller coasters? Would you do Ferris wheels? Would you do carnival games?
I don't know. Roller coasters. 100%.
Why? Okay, why 100% roller coasters?
Just like the most messed up roller coaster you can be on. That's like on the cusp of being against regulation. Just like, you know, like so people aren't dying, but they think they're gonna die.
So you're living the lifestyle of the Russian from Rocky. That's like if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. But he's not gonna die because there's a bunch of safety protocols. But he thinks he's gonna die.
I've never been on a legit roller coaster, like one that does a loop. I've never done it.
What?
I'm
You haven't lived.
The one time I was going to do it, I was waiting in line and the guy's like, I'm like, how often do these rides break down? He goes, it happens sometimes. Then right before I went on the ride, like they had to shut it down for some maintenance. So they're like, it's going to be 10 minutes. So we just waited in line. I kept asking them even more questions, which was like a terrible thing. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, how many people get hurt on this? He's like, none so far. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so far. And he goes, I'm just like, so how does a ride get fixed so fast if you say it's going to be 10 minutes? And he goes, well, it's just held together by magnets. I'm like, nope, fuck that. Just walked out. Nope.
So there's this one roller coaster we have at Canada's Wonderland called Top Gun. Okay, it's based on the movie Top Gun.
Welcome. I can't sing it. YouTube will cancel it. Don't do that.
So crazy. And it just does like all these crazy like sharp corners and stuff like that. And you're like this. and it makes you feel like you're flying and shit. It's amazing. Best roller coaster ever. I think I went on it like 3 times in a row once. It was
I like the
insane.
one log cabin ride or the log ride that you would have, the water one,
Uh-huh.
before they canceled it.
The one where you get like all splashed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we still have that.
I have
I
a
haven't been in a
specific
long while.
memory of my brother was riding in front and I was riding behind him, and we went down the thing, and I was like kind of sitting up a little bit because I wanted to kind of not get my pants soaked. Like when you're sitting in the water, nothing's worse than
Yeah.
sitting in like a puddle because you're like your pants are wet and soaked and your ass is soaked to the seat. So I stood up a little bit and it hit that bump. My front of my teeth went into my back of my brother's head, like hard as
Ooh.
shit. And he goes, "You just
Ooh.
bite me?" And I'm like, "Oh!"
That must have hurt.
But those are memories you make of the fun times you have when you go to a fucking amusement park that's run by 2 rats. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Good times. It's always a good time. I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been in a long time, just because it gets like rammed and you can't get on a ride for like 2 or 3 hours.
I would
It's
always bring
fucking
my
insane.
grandpa to them because, like, my grandpa was really good at all the carnival games, which, like, most people talk about, like, they have a certain skill for something. Like, I'm really good at, like, statistics. I'm really good at, like, I can run really fast. Well, I'm really good at fucking carnival games, like a skill that's useless unless I'm on a date somewhere. So,
Yeah, yeah.
my grandfather's really good at carnival games. Well, my grandpa's like 6'5", and I remember I went to Six Flags and I was like, "Can you win me that giant stuffed dog?" I was probably 6 at the time, and this, like, I mean, up to your waist, maybe standing up, and
Mhm.
this dog was taller than that. Like, it was a giant stuffed dog. So the main one I wanted was a Scooby Doo one. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Because eventually, like, they pulled it off the thing, and it was like where there's like a in the seam of the leg was like a rip, and they're like, you can't sew that, so you might as well get the one that you can sew, which was this giant dog I named Spike. He had a spike collar, and that's why I called him Spike. Remember,
Yeah.
it was the basketball game, and my grandpa
Okay.
just goes up one handed, every single one, just getting 3-pointers. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm with Larry Bird
What?
over here, and like, dude, he won me it, and I'm like, I got my skill of carnival games from that man because every carnival game I play, I always win. Doesn't matter, like the balloon one, even the one that the one's a rig, the milk thing. The guy's like, how the fuck
They're
is this?
all rigged, man. It
Ah,
it kills me. And you know what? The one that gets me all the time is that stupid friggin' BB gun. Okay, where you shoot BBs at like the little star
mm-hmm.
with a machine gun, and and they find that little piece of red star that's still on that paper, and it gets me and they soak me for like $30 every fucking year, and it kills me, and it drives my wife. She laughs her ass off,
Do
and
you
it
do
kills
you
me.
do
It
you
kills me.
do you play and win the stuffed animals and win the little prizes at the beginning of the thing, or do you wait till the end?
We 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 don't win very much at all.
I
How
about to
about
say because
that?
it's
But
it's a rookie move when you see a dad carrying around a giant stuffed animal at the beginning of
oh
his
no,
park
yeah.
ride adventure. You're like, dude, you gotta save that shit to the end when you're leaving, so you don't have to carry that around the whole time. It's a rookie move.
See, we have okay. So the thing that we have in Toronto is called the CNE, and that happens for like was it 2 or 3 weeks before the end of summer? Okay, and like the last day is Labor Day, and so it's filled with like the quick setup carnival rides and shit like that. You know, the shit that makes you think that they're gonna fall apart, like those swings
Oh
that
my god,
like you
dude.
know which one I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right? Those are fucked
I used
up.
to go on those all the time. And then the day I went to one of those amusement parks, I had rode them all day and we had left. And the next day we looked on the news and someone had died on that ride the same day that I was at
Right?
that amusement park. And I was like, oh my God, like the woman just broke, the chains broke,
That
she
could
just
have been
flew off.
you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why do I understand they're fun, but it's like a fucking 3-ticket ride. Like people die on this one called the Zipper, where it's like it goes up and like it's this seat that's on like a gyro, but it like goes up like a zipper
Yeah, yeah,
does.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Why? What is the point of it all? Like,
Isn't that cool?
no, it's not cool.
Yeah, centrifugal force and shit like that.
No, dude, people dying isn't cool, man.
Well, not people dying. I wouldn't say people dying is cool. I'm talking about like the ride is cool. It's unfortunate that they die.
You ever heard of pumpkin chunking?
What the hell's that?
There's this event down here that ended up getting canceled because what they would do is people would design these giant launchers like with like CO2 compression power.
Okay.
And they would design it to shoot a pumpkin across a field. So they would have competitions where they would line up these. Dude, even explaining this to you right now, I think of
Sounds
like those.
fucked up.
No, I think of these movies where people go, "You ever heard of redneck fishing?" I'm like, I sound like a fucking hick when I'm explaining this, but at the time, it's like a great event to just get drunk and watch people shoot pumpkins with launchers and stuff. But they would shoot
Yeah.
them across these fields. Well, eventually, like I forgot why they canceled. I think a farmer died on the farm. Not even when the event was going on. It was like because they would only do it once a year. So he actually
Oh
like fell
no.
off his
He was on
four.
the receiving end.
No. He didn't die at the event. What happened was it was like a month before the event was taking place, and he had fell off his four-wheeler or something. He was an older guy, and he had died like off of his.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, the family was like, we're not doing it anymore. Like this was his event. We're not doing it anymore. But like it was a
How's that?
big.
How's one go with the other? I don't understand.
Well, it's their farm, and they're letting people come onto their farm and do this thing.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
if the main
Gotcha.
guy who owns the farm dies, then the family's like, why the fuck are we gonna let all these people just shoot pumpkins into our field? It doesn't make any
This
sense.
is fun.
Yeah, but I remember those things would go off, those giant launchers, and I would be so
Yeah.
deathly afraid of a fucking pumpkin just killing somebody. I mean, like Simpsons, where Flanders' wife got killed with the t-shirt gun by
Yeah.
Homer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
see,
God.
okay, you ever see that video where that it was probably on like one of those Big Brother shows or some shit like that, or Amazing Race, where they're like they got these big slingshots and they're launching like watermelons and the watermelon goes forward and slams her right in the face. Oh, it's so funny.
It's
She
about
catches it hard.
it's about as uncomfortable as when you see someone put a sniper up to their like face and like you can just tell it's gonna kick back and hit them in the
Yeah,
eye. Like I feel so
yeah,
bad for those scenarios.
but it's pretty funny.
The worst thing I'd ever seen was like, you know, that Rick Grimes gun from like Walking Dead, the giant magnum. a,
Yeah.
a lady was holding it and she wasn't holding it by the bottom with one hand and she was just holding it up like this and she shot and her whole wrist just clicked down, like snapped. And I'm like, "Ah!" Like it was like I had shot a
Wow.
gun like that before. So like I know what that kickback is like, but like that the whole wrist just breaking. It's why I can't arm wrestle. I saw a video of a woman
Ooh.
arm wrestling and her arm just snaps. And I'm like, I have no I think living in a bubble is a safe idea for some people out there, to be honest with you. Like, I think we all know a person that probably can knock themselves out while making toast. Like, I'm pretty sure we all know one person.
Yeah. But you know what? That's the beauty of living, man.
Do you
It's
want to? Do you want the coroner report to say, "Here lies Adam. He died because a pumpkin got lodged in his fucking head because he went to
but
some stupid ass event where people shot pumpkins in the fucking air and someone turned it on the crowd and just went batshit crazy."
but like that's a story that people will always tell, right?
Yeah, and you're not on the good end of that. Like, it's not like he saved a human life when he jumped in front of that bus. No, they're gonna be like,
Would
that
be
guy
pretty
was
funny if you got
killed
like
by
a
a.
tombstone that was shaped like a pumpkin.
You're fucked up.
That would be so funny.
People would be talking shit on you for the longest time. Like, this guy was killed by a fucking pumpkin.
See, that's why you take it back. You take it back by making a tombstone of the pumpkin. So you're making the joke, and they're not making the joke of you.
And every Halloween, he comes and haunts the little kids.
There you go. See? I will live on through this.
If you're going to die, what is a good way you think you would want to die? Don't say in your sleep. Like a
Oh,
badass
come on,
way.
that was
'Cause
a good one.
I would want to
So,
die in glory, like saving a life or something. But I wouldn't want to. You see those of things where someone's like, "How did he die?" Well, you know, he was eating that third Triscuit, and the next thing you know, like that's a fucking
He
terrible
choked to
way.
death. You just couldn't get that glass of water down.
Couldn't choked and died on a Triscuit. Like that's a terrible. Like if someone, if
Yeah.
it, and my corner reporter said he died eating a Papa John's pizza, that's hell to me.
Well, it wouldn't be like, I hope it wouldn't be trying to fix a stove or a dryer like your dad's buddy there. That would suck. Um, although I've come close to that. That's not fun.
Imagine if you just exploded and you were a head and a testicle. Like that's all it was.
Oh, just 2 balls, but like 1 big ball and 1 small ball, that would be mad.
You might have testicular cancer if that's the case.
No, I'm talking like your melon is
Oh,
the
okay.
big ball, and
Like,
like you
like
got
you
a
had
little
one
ball.
huge nut and one low
No.
nut, and you're like, this one's powerful. You're like, that has cancer. You're like, no,
It's got
powerful.
What's it called? Gigantism
That's
of
when
the
you're like,
nuts.
that's when you're huge. You're talking about like elephantitis, where like the dude's got like,
Elephantitis. That's it. Elephantitis. Thank you.
his foot looks like he's wearing shoes, even though that's just his bare foot.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah. Can we get off these bad things for like a minute? We're
Go
gonna
back to your
get canceled,
assorted
eh?
jam.
Like
I know.
so
I
canceled.
don't care anymore.
Like I don't know why you have me on, because we get into like really bad things, and then like I feel like we walk this fine line where we're gonna get you canceled.
Well, I don't think we're walking it. I think we're tap dancing like over, like, you know, when someone figures out that like, here's the state line where you're going to be in a different times, and as soon as you cross that, you're like, I'm in the future, I'm in the past, I'm in the future, I'm in the past, I'm in the. You just keep hopping back and forth where it just goes back an hour.
Yeah. Ah, you're killing me, man. Oh shit, good times.
I'm okay with it because I'm having fun, and I think people can understand we're joking.
We're
But
just joking, folks.
if
We're
you
just
have
joking.
one nut that's
Look at
larger
me.
than
I
the
am the
others,
captain now.
look
We're
at
just joking.
we're taking you for a roller coaster ride. We're going to push down that fucking click
Yeah.
seatbelt thing. And then you always
Like,
get the one person beside you that's way bigger than you, and you can't click it down all the way. You're like, I'm not buckled in. You're like, up too late, and you hit the button, you fucking fly off.
I feel like we should put like a disclaimer before the show, or it's like, folks, I am no way, shape, or form an expert, or do I have a compendium of information, but this is what's going on in here, and it's a little fucked up. And if you like the ride, come on in. If you get really offended by small things, do not come here.
It's like a hot tub where the sign says, please wipe your ass before you get in here. And then everyone's
Yeah.
just kind of like, fuck it. And they just hop in anyway.
What hot tub says wipe your ass?
That
I
is
know
a
it says
rule
like
for hot
don't
tubs.
have diarrhea.
Yeah, don't have
Like-
diarrhea. And then it's like, up, hey, did you have diarrhea? I had explosive diarrhea. So we're just okay. We're just agreeing that we're both just going to sit in this hot tub together, right?
See, like these little floaters.
All right, Adam. All right. I'm fucking wrapping it on that, dude. Where can people find your assorted jam business, your art collections, everything, man?
Okay, so I'm only on Instagram. It's Adam's drawing board, and yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, Adam the Handyman is my business thing where I do my handyman shit and my electrical stuff, and that's it.
Anything
where you can
wanna
find
say
me.
to the people out there?
Nanu.
I don't know what that means.
You don't know what? Oh my God, am I dating myself with that? Okay, that's a
I'm
Robin
not-
Williams thing. Going back with the whole, forget it. It's okay. Have a nice night. Enjoy Robbie Robertson on his podcast. Tune in all the time because he's a very knowledgeable person in all things of life. And that's all, folks.
Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Adam. Adam, welcome back to the podcast. I'm trying to like slowly make you think that we did not just record and you're back in like this trick.
Don't gaslight me, motherfucker. Only
It's
my
not-
wife can do that.
You don't even know